Good morning, good morning, good morning on these YouTube streets. What is going on, my peoples? A lot of things have been going on, have been occurring, have been transpiring since we last spoke to one another. Let me see, the trials for the Olympics have begun. I think that's in Tokyo. What else is going on in Congress? I think there's a debate over LGBT foster parents or something like that. Okay, lots of things going on. However, one of the things that I wanted to cover was the strong leaning of the liberals and leftists who are basically control freaks. They have been following the trend that they set themselves. They set the trend and then now they're following it. A trend of trying to demasculinize black men. That's what they've been trying to do. And this is no exception here with the thing that's happening for Anthony Mackie, to Anthony Mackie on Twitter. The Twitterati, that's what I'd like to call them. The Twitterati, basically a Twitter Nostra, a Twitter mob. The Twitter mob, who are basically, as this guy named your boy Zach called them, 12 psychos on Twitter with hundreds of sock puppet accounts. For those of you who don't believe that's possible, I'd like to actually tell you that during maybe 2011, 2010, 2011, I ran an experiment because I had many laptops. I owned many laptops. And what I did was I went on Facebook as multiple accounts, multiple people, multiple personas, multiple accounts. And I started pages that were basically dedicated to socio-political agendas. And over the course of time, I noticed that I was able to sway people. Let's say someone comes in the first day and they're maybe center left. They believe in gay rights, these sorts of things. What else? What else? Women's choice, right? Gay rights, women's choice. They believe in black empowerment, all these sorts of things. And over the course of like maybe a month, I was able to, through the use of sock puppet accounts, I was able to change that person's political position from one end to the other. Basically, what I was able to do was come in as fake profiles of conservatives, some of them extreme, some of them very moderate, and like the moderate playing good cop and the extreme playing bad cop. And I was able to isolate the potential target. And as the good cop, I'm able to befriend them, be like, hey, I saw the view you have on gay rights and everything, blah, 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 blah. Maybe you should consider this position, softening up your stance a little bit. And then the bad cop would come in and attack, like, yeah, listen, da 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 da. And then the good cop would be like, hey, I got this. And over the course of time, through that kind of effort, that kind of technique and method, I was able to turn a lot of people from one position to another. And I did it vice versa as well, where someone conservative would come onto the page, and over the course of like maybe a week or 2 weeks, I was able to change that person's position to the opposite. This is done with maybe 3 or 4 laptops. What do you think these people can do if they can afford more equipment and more resources? So these people on Twitter, they're being called right now, they're being called the tastemakers. Shout out to Grace Randolph. She's the one who called them that. Grace Randolph is very safe now, but she used to be very conservative. She used to be quite conservative back in, I don't know, 2008 or so. But now she's kind of like middle of the road because she runs a business. So she has to be kind of tepid. She has to be tepid around these sorts of topics. But she calls these people on Twitter the tastemakers. So basically, you come out with a movie, and if the movie doesn't please them in terms of diversity, like it doesn't have enough black people, enough Hispanics, enough gay people, if it doesn't have enough of these sorts of things, right? Superficially, by the way, they don't have to even make sense to the plot. They can have something happening in the middle of 15th century Japan, okay, where it's all Asian people, and then they stick a group of black people in there. Not Yosuke. Yosuke, that was an isolated incident where a black guy, who was an envoy from, I don't know, some sort of slave to an Irish guy, and then the Irish guy visited Japan, and then one of the Japanese shoguns was so impressed with Yasuke that they made him a samurai. But that's an isolated incident. For you to shoehorn a whole bunch of black people in Japan, 15th century, 8th century, 10th century Japan, for no particular reason, that's being forced. That's very superficial. That has nothing to do with the plot. So they do these sorts of things. And if you do that, if you don't do that in your movie, then the tastemakers will be like, well, your movie's kind of racist, isn't it? There aren't any black people in this thing. Well, it's in China, right? China during the time of Mulan. Where are black people supposed to show up? It's only Chinese people here, not white people, not black people, not Indian people, nobody except Asian people. But if you don't satisfy these folks, for example, if you don't have enough LGBT representation in your film, superficially so, by the way, then these quote unquote tastemakers will get you canceled. That's what they do. They'll get you canceled. Now, let's come to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That dynamic between these two men, that dynamic between these two individuals, these two characters, has existed from, I don't know, since Captain America Winter Soldier, when Falcon was introduced, I believe, and Bucky as Winter Soldier was introduced at the same time, by the way. Before that, he was just Bucky, then as Winter Soldier or whatever. But they met there, and eventually, I mean, they were kind of like enemies there. But then over in Civil War, Captain America Civil War, they became acquaintances and reluctant allies, right? And then over the course of time until now with the series, they're full-blown friends now, and they pretend that it's very quirky and very funny and witty, and it makes for a very dynamic, really cool and lean show. It's very awesome. It's quite what's the word I'm looking for here? It's quite let's go with interesting. It's quite interesting that these two men are now reluctant friends. They both will probably take a bullet for one another, but they won't admit it to each other's faces. And it's awesome. I love it. However, the Twitter mob, they are not satisfied with this thing. They're not satisfied. Okay? We will be discussing this, right? We've had enough of this and that. And so what we'll be discussing is black men must, and I repeat, must, black men, we must promote the LGBTQ agenda, or else tonight, or this morning rather, we're up early, this morning on the Brotep Show.
You, turn around.
You prefer the view from behind?
No, well, yes. You know I can't lie.
Okay, let's do a little meandering around and go to this place and that place before we even get to the main topic here, to the main course. Let's go and figure out what's been going on with other things on Twitter. Let's go on Twitter right now. Let me go on to, first of all, we'll probably be reading, so it's reading time with your Negro, Brotep. And now let me share the screen so that we can go ahead and take a look at Twitter. What has Twitter got for us this morning? And I'm glad you guys are spending your mornings with me. Whether you're in your car, going to work, or maybe you're chilling out, maybe you work from home. But I'm glad I'm spending my morning with you. And we can actually get some things started here. What do we got? Okay. It looks like the Supreme Court. See, these are the things that are happening. Supreme Court sides with Philadelphia Catholic Agency in dispute over same-sex foster parents. See, this stuff, they're attacking on every front, right? So, same-sex foster parents. I support any loving couple taking care of kids in need. I support it. But there's been something fishy going on with foster parentage where it seems like, and they tried to ridicule this before, but it seems like they're taking, oh boy, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that stuff like this. Okay, look, it seems like they're making loopholes and booby traps for straight parents to lose custody of their children, and then the children get stuck in the system, and then for gay foster parents to come pick up your kids. That's what it seems like. It seems like a conspiracy. Now, the reason why I'm thinking I'll probably get in trouble for saying that is because I have no proof for it, and it's part of a series of accusations that have been made towards gay people since like the 1960s. They want your children, they want your kids, right? So I'm not going to focus too much on that. It's just an instinct I have. Usually I give a lot of credit to my instincts, but on this front right here, I'll I'll ease up on that a little bit. I'll ease up on it. Let me see. Tokyo Olympics, the trials are underway on NBC. Let the games begin, July 23rd. Okay, so right now they're doing the preliminaries, I guess, and then on July 23rd, we go full force into it. I don't know who. I'm out of touch in the sports world right now as to who is popular. I think Simone Biles will probably be competing for the U.S. in the Women's Olympics, gymnastics, right? And I think maybe Naomi Osaka will probably be in the Olympics, or does she not qualify because she's professional? For those of you who are well versed in the sports world, let me know. If you're professional already, are you allowed to compete in the Olympics, right? Candace Owens, a political commentator, Candace Owens voices her opposition to Juneteenth. I'm going to give this its own video eventually. However, I think it's very important to cover that now. Candace Owens, even though, look, I'm a man of two worlds. I'm a man of two worlds. I'm conservative on one hand, and on the other hand, I'm for black empowerment. A lot of times those things are at cross purposes because many things that are in black empowerment tend to be self-victimizing in tone, and so it doesn't go along with my conservatism. And then a lot of times the things that I believe in as a conservative, they are at cross purposes with black empowerment. Okay, because as a conservative, I believe you should pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Nobody owes you anything for the past or whatever. But then on the black empowerment end, what are we going to do about slavery? That debt is still owed, right? So I don't know. I don't know. I'm a man of two worlds. That's why I'm very torn. When Candace Owens comes out with these sorts of things, I'm very torn. On this particular aspect, though, where she's in opposition, she voices her opposition to Juneteenth. Juneteenth, what is there that's reproachable about Juneteenth? It's when we acknowledged that slavery, I don't know, the emancipation of black people, right? So what's the problem? What's the problem? Let me see what she has to say about it. Give me a second here. Let me read this for you. Look at these memes here. Virgil Hell's #1 tour guide. This guy says how Candace Owens gonna look when she drives by Juneteenth cookouts this summer, this Saturday. What else is going on? Remember that time Dave Chappelle made fun of Candace Owens? That's something Bigsby, the black Klansman. I'm old enough to remember when Candace Owens sued our school district for racial discrimination using the NAACP lawyers. Yeah, that's a thing that happened, isn't it? That is really a thing that happened. Candace Owens used to be a raging leftist. She actually sued for discrimination. The same thing that she's shaming people for complaining about now. She sued a whole school. Sued a whole school and won like nearly $50,000. Okay, but then now she's saying Juneteenth is so lame. What are you, a Valley girl now? Juneteenth is like so lame. Democrats really need to stop trying to repackage segregation. I'll be celebrating July 4th and July 4th only. I'm American. Yeah, but we can also celebrate July 4th. I celebrate July 4th. I love the history that, at least the legitimate, the good history that is pertaining to, to American society. I love it. I love it. You know, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, all these people. I love it. But you can't separate or you can't deny what black people brought to the table with like Juneteenth. What's wrong with you? Anyhow, let's see what else is going on. What else is going on? Actually, you know what? Let's move on to the main topic real quick. Let's move on to the main topic. And to do that, hold on. Let me stop the screen. Boom. Bring this back up. It is time for the main topic.
We can all be some fighting motherfuckers in here this evening. Bring your ass, nigga. Bring it on. Come on. Bring your ass. Come on, get up and come on. You out of your fucking mind? Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Come on, sucker. Let's get it on.
I think I covered shipping before. Have you guys, when I say I covered shipping, I don't mean that you ordered something and then I'm paying for the shipping. I'm saying shipping in terms of the internet, right? So, as far as internet entertainment, shipping is when you're watching a show and then you are shipping. It's the truncated form for the word relationship, right? So, let's say you're watching Star Wars and you see Han Solo and Luke Skywalker trying to shoot their way out of some sort of base, and they're swarmed by stormtroopers. What you say is, "Wow." If you're gay, you're like, "Wow, these two men are about to die. I hope they make out and show their true feelings for each other." And then you have all this fantasy in your head about these two straight characters and you make them gay in your head. Now that's shipping. Usually what they do online is that they draw. A lot of these shippers tend to be artists and they draw the two straight characters, canonically straight characters, and they reimagine them as gay people. Now, here's what's pernicious about that. What's pernicious about that is the Twitterati and the compendium of controllers, they weaponize shipping. So the LGBTQ artists who do the shipping, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with that. They do what they're doing, and it's fan art. I do quite a bit of fan art myself. They're not gay, but they're regular fan art. They're not shipping. But my fan art falls under fan art, and shipping falls under fan art. So I do quite a bit of fan art. And if I were to be opposed to shipping the way the artists do it, the gay artists do it, then I would be a raging hypocrite, wouldn't I? So I'm not against the shipping. What I'm against is the pernicious undertone of it when these control freaks use shipping in order to direct the course of the show. It's happened before. I think it was maybe around 2014, probably. I don't know. When The Legend of Korra, it used to be a show about it's in the Avatar universe, Avatar the Last Airbender. It's in it's in that universe. And what they did, what these shippers did, they caused such a an uproar online, a good uproar of the two main characters, the main character and her commander or something like that, who are two women, and the shippers made these two women fall in love in all their fantasies. It became so popular online that, and it's an animated show, it became so popular online that the showrunners of the show, while it was still in development, they turned the plot around to make these two characters fall in love for real in order to satisfy the major fan base that was brewing up about around the shipping. Ever since then, they've been doing this sort of thing, but they're doing it now with live action, with real actors. So that's the pernicious aspect of it, which is now they want real actors to bend to the will of the crowd. So then now, around 2016, when Finn and Poe, I don't know if you guys watch Star Wars. I don't know if you guys watch Star Wars, but this is Finn and Poe. Let me get the images up on screen here for you. Sorry about the dry throat. You know, I do a lot of speaking. Okay, this is Finn and Poe. Finn is the black guy, Poe is the white Hispanic. All right, Oscar Isaac and John Boyega. Hold on, there you go. Finn is the black guy, Poe is Oscar Isaac, the white guy, white Hispanic guy. These two characters started out as friends. They started out as very good friends you know, they had a chance encounter. Finn saved Poe's life, and then you know Poe returned the favor a few times, and a beautiful friendship, like a bromance, blossomed. But they were not satisfied with that. They were not satisfied. The shipping community started making tons of fan art of them kissing and making out and having sex and these sorts of things. Now, here's the problem. Let me paint a picture for you here. Oscar Isaac is a leftist. John Boyega is kind of a leftist, but John Boyega is a Christian Nigerian. Both of those cultures do not abide by homosexuality. John Boyega, the black guy, he's Christian and Nigerian, and he's very proud of both aspects of himself, Christian and Nigerian, and he's very respectful of what his parents' wishes are. So, with his parents looking at all this art online, seeing very realistic portraits of their son having sex with a white guy all over the internet, it's already a problem. It's already a problem. Now, mind you, Hollywood's already got this history of putting black men in dresses, having black men taking it up the rear. If you guys ever saw Pulp Fiction, right? There's already a long history of demasculinizing and metaphorically castrating and sodomizing black males. Okay? And this continues here, where John Boyega has to deal with these sorts of things. Eventually, John Boyega himself had to come out and denounce this. Give me a second. Let me get right with you on that. Share the screen. I already did the intro for It's reading time with your Negro Brotep, so I don't need to repeat it. But take a look here, real quick. John Boyega shoots down Poe, Dameron, and Finn love story, or love theory. Actor John Boyega, Finn, has responded to the fan theory regarding the supposed new love triangle in Star Wars The Force Awakens, denying any sort of romance between the characters Finn and Poe Dameron. While there's no direct quote, shortlist editor Chris Mandel recently tweeted, John Boyega confirmed to me the Finn Poe romance is not canon and it only exists in Oscar Isaac's head. Ever since the trio of the new Star Wars, the trio of the new, ever since the trio of new stars, this is an awfully written article. Ever since the trio of new stars, John Boyega Finn, Daisy Ridley Ray, and Oscar Isaac Poe Dameron went on the Ellen Show to discuss The Force Awakens, there's been some chatter regarding the film's two male leads, specifically their sexuality. Basically, fans think Poe Dameron might be gay, and that the connection between Poe and Finn is deeper than just two buds helping save the galaxy. See, men can't be friends anymore, and black men must. Black men must not only support LGBTQ romances, but they must be in an LGBTQ romance or they get canceled. During that appearance in December, let me highlight that for you. Side note, that's the progressive lady. Many people cosplay as her now. She's become so famous. All right, let's continue on here. During that appearance in December, Oscar Isaac suggested that there was a very subtle romance happening on screen. You know, you just have to just look very closely. You have to watch it a few times to see little hints, but there was. At least I was playing the romance, the actor clarified without mentioning which character. He did appear to sneak a quick glance at John Boyega and did mention the romance might have occurred in the cockpit of a ship. There's a scene in The Force Awakens in which Poe and Finn are both in a TIE fighter together. It could be a droid, he added. For this part, during the show, Boyega said Finn didn't really have time for romance, but the notion was already out there. Okay? So they have been trying to get this man to kiss and make out with another man on screen. Now, the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that if that's who you are. But that's not who John Boyega is. In fact, John Boyega was, and I'll cover this on later on, where Disney is trying to gayify John Boyega. John Boyega was caught out in a carnival. I think it was out in New Orleans or one of these places. And John Boyega was out there and he was grinding up on some fine lady. Some fine lady was dancing out there, shaking her ass. And John Boyega came up behind her and he was like, yeah, 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 yeah. And when the photos leaked online, they were like, well, this is unacceptable for a young man who's representing the Disney Corporation. Wait a minute. You have no problem with these two men tonguing each other down on screen. I mean, you were pushing for this, but you do have a problem with the actor not playing the character, the actor in his personal life, engaging in his own heterosexuality. That's a problem? Really? This shows you the devil mentality of some of these people. This shows you where their head's at. You know what I'm saying? So you move on to now the modern thing, the current situation here with Falcon and Winter Soldier. When you move on to this situation here, we have to remember, and we probably have to even go back again to maybe 2013. Do you guys know a singer called Genuine? Are you familiar with a singer named Genuine? Around 2013 or so, Genuine was involved in a controversy for not wanting to have sex with a trans man. Let me repeat that. Genuine was in a controversy for not wanting to have sex with a transgender man. Here's a video of that.
Guys have chatted me up not knowing my past, but then as soon as they find out, whoa. I'm a woman, right?
Okay.
Forget about any T's or anything in front of it. I'm just a woman, okay? So on that score, you would date me, wouldn't you?
Not if you told me you was trans.
No, I'm not telling you I'm trans. I'm a woman.
A
So
woman,
you would, you would date me then?
woman, yeah.
Go on,
Hey,
let's
baby.
have a kiss. Go on,
Hey,
let's
baby.
have a kiss. Go on,
Hey,
let's
baby.
have a kiss. You see, and I think all
He's just
the,
not that into
I
it.
think all the unspoken things that you can read into both those responses there
come on.
illustrate my case
Unspoken.
100% genuine here.
No,
What
he-
prove my case.
No, but in
That's my preference. She said what I did.
I'm a woman.
No,
but
that
genuine
doesn't mean I
woman.
don't like her or
Date me.
no, the question was about trans women.
Yeah.
You said, would you date trans women?
Because I'm trans.
Thank you. That's all.
Might not date me. He might not date
No,
her.
I'm not talking about
what I'm trying to get
individuals.
You mean
understand.
as
As
a
a
trans
bracket.
person?
Anyone trans.
That's a preference.
That's what I said. No.
I'm
It's a preference.
Yeah, I'm off. See you guys.
It's the same
Are you
thing.
mad? Don't get
I'm
mad.
off.
You can't get
See you
mad.
now.
That's the same as him saying, listen, okay,
I want us to
I'm
have
sorry,
a
can I say something really quickly? I am 100% sure that we
That was an episode of Big Brother. It's one of the remaining shows from the era of reality TV shows. One of the last bastions of reality TV. That scene was a bunch of trans women, or is it trans men? I forget what the thing is, but they're a bunch of they're a bunch of people who were born biologically male. And a lot of them, probably most of them in that scene, still have their penises. They're not post-op. They still have their penises. What they have is makeup and wigs. And they insisted on being called women, and they insisted that Genuine open himself up to sexual relations with them. And since he did not, when he had the natural bodily instinct to recoil from that intimacy, they said, oh, he's transphobic. And they tried to cancel Genuine for that. It took a long while, maybe a year or 2 years, for his career, as it were, to get back on par with what it was before. This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. This is not, it has nothing to do with the actual trans people. They're not the ones pushing for this. This trans person who's on TV now, he's part of the group of controllers, though he or she, let's say she, is part of the group of controllers who want to they want to terraform your mind. They want to terraform your mind. They want to own you. They want to own you. It doesn't matter that you're not into men. They say, well, I identify as a woman. Therefore, when you give me a blowjob, you're not, and this was on Twitter, by the way. When you go down on me and it's a penis, you're going down on a woman with a penis. You're not gay. This is what they're pushing. And so when they get black men in their grip in Hollywood, they try to do this. They put these men in dresses. They have them taking it up the butt. They have them metaphorically taking it up the butt by getting shot in the butt. If you guys saw Training Day or Bad Boys 2, all of these films, they have a black man getting shot in the butt. It's a metaphorical way of saying, yes, you're taking it up the rear. You're lucky if that's all that happens. If you're unlucky, you're in a dress. with lipstick and a wig. Tu Wong Fu, thanks for everything. Remember where the brother Wesley Snipes and all these men were put in dresses. I'm not sure if Kevin Hart was put in a dress yet, but a lot of these men are put in dresses. Black men must support the gay agenda, or else. That's the order of the day now. That's the order of the day. We must do that. And so the Twitter mob, overnight, overnight, the Twitter mob swelled up and swarmed on Anthony Mackie. Let me get back to Anthony Mackie here. Okay. Let me go here and show you. I'm gonna read that to you very quickly. I'm not gonna stay very long. I know you guys probably have things to do today. Okay, you have things to do today, so I won't keep you very long, but I did want to read this for you, where a lot of you aren't aware of these things that are happening because, frankly, you have better things to do, and I applaud that. Fantastic. You know, I'll put up with the nonsense so you don't have to, but I'll bring you the news, you know, from the outskirts of the wasteland. All right. I'll bring you news. I'll bring you news from the wasteland. You guys can stay clean inside of the city, or of the walled city. All right. Hopefully, you guys can see this. Let me close out whatever this is here. Remember when Variety wrote this yesterday, about 19 hours ago? Anthony Mackie addresses the Sam Bucky romance rumors. So many. Let me actually blow this up so you guys can read it properly along with me. The Falcon and the Winter Soldiers, Anthony Mackie addresses the Sam Bucky romance rumors. So many things are twisted and convoluted. There's so many things that people latch onto for their own development, right? So that was his reply. But if you can see here, there's been a lot of backlash. Let me move down to the backlash. There we go. All right. Hey, Grace Randolph, here's some replies. I'd love T watchers aren't happy. Why aren't you happy? The man literally, you know, let me remind you people. You people who are watching, let me remind you of what Sam said. What Anthony Mackie said. I keep calling him his character's name. Here's what Anthony Mackie actually said, right? Anthony Mackie said, it used to be guys can be friends. We hang out and it was cool. You can't do that anymore because something as pure and beautiful as homosexuality has been exploited by people who are trying to rationalize themselves. The Marvel star says, there's nothing more masculine than being a superhero and flying around and beating people up, but there's nothing more sensitive than having emotional conversations and kindred spirit friendship with someone that you care for and love. He adds, Sam and Steve have had a relationship where they admired, appreciated, and loved each other. That's when he's talking about Captain America and Bucky, Captain America and Falcon. And Bucky and Sam have a relationship where they learn how to accept, appreciate, and love each other. You'd call it a bromance, but it's really just two guys who have each other's backs. All right. So now let's move on to what these people are saying. So Dan Farrow, whenever you see these flags next to their names, obviously the flag means that they're LGBTQIA, right? So here you go. Hey, Grace Randolph. I mentioned Grace Randolph at the beginning of this and how she used to be conservative, but Grace Randolph is now a raging leftist. You know what? She's a raging anything she has to be to pay her bills. And I don't disparage her for that. I'm just saying that's what it is. So if she's a palm tree, wherever the wind blows, that's where she's headed. Okay. Hey, Grace Randolph, I'd love to know your opinion on this. Let me highlight some of these. Hey, Grace Randolph, I'd love to know your opinion on this. A lot of LGBTQ watchers aren't happy. We love Sam and Bucky because of Anthony and Seb's chemistry. We don't appreciate being thrown under the bus like this. Okay. Grace Randolph says they literally rolled around in a field together. The filmmakers knew they were putting those teases in there, and they shouldn't dismiss it like that. I'm sorry there was such a forceful response. Okay. This brings to mind what she's alluding to here is something called gay baiting. Let me know if any of you have heard of the term gay baiting, and if you have, go ahead and put that in a response if you've heard of the term gay baiting. Gay baiting is when supposedly when movie producers or creators or authors hint that there might be LGBTQ representation in the work so that they can get gay people watching, so that they can get gay dollars, gay viewers, gay listeners, gay whatever, again, a gay audience. And then when they've gotten the gay audience, they've gotten those views, they've gotten those dollars, they're like, hey, we were just kidding. There are no gay people in this. Got your money though. Ha ha ha. So that's gay baiting. All right. So hold on one second. I can understand him wanting to create a portrayal of sensitive straight black man and disliking fetishization, and he doesn't have to like the pair, but I think the way he phrased this was very condescending and othering, borderline rude. See, they're trying to cancel this guy. They're looking for, look, if this was a white guy, he'd have been canceled already. So we're at least lucky that Anthony Mackie is black. We're at least lucky he's black. Then he gets a little bit of time before the bomb goes off. He gets a little bit more rope on the fuse. Agreed. There's a way here. Here you go. Helena, Wayne, Huntress. And these are a whole bunch of people. Look at their profiles. It's a bunch of cartoon profiles. So it's not even real people. These are people with sock puppet accounts, what you call sock puppet accounts. Agreed. There's a way of addressing relationship rumors without dismissing an entire marginalized community desiring representation in the process. Similarly, there's a way of addressing problems with fetishization of queer couples by fandom without sounding homophobic. How did he sound homophobic? He literally told you that homosexual relationships are pure and beautiful. Now, I don't agree. I think homosexual relationships are the same as every other relationship in terms of their value, right? Except, maybe not in the productive value, because what do you call it? Traditional relationships can bear children, homosexual ones cannot. So at least in the biological production value, the heterosexual relationships, they have an upper hand on there. But in terms of rights and everything, it's the same thing. They have the right to do whatever they want, with another consenting adult. So this just in, people mad that two male friends aren't actually each other and can't just accept that. Yeah, good. That's a very good point. Let me see. Hold on. Sebastian Stan, on the other hand, that's Bucky. Bucky's playing the game. Sebastian Stan, on the other hand, sounds much more empathetic to fans. I'm just happy that the relationship is embraced, and it should be embraced in whatever way or fashion that people desire and want it to be. So they love Sebastian Stan's double speak. All right? You can't be doing this. So okay, here's what it is, right? There's something called boundaries. Let me get back on this here. And let me shut this down here. There are these things called boundaries, right? So imagine you have a best friend. You love the best friend, been your best friend for years, right? And there's distance and boundaries between you. He or she comes over, they spend the night, you hang out, etc., etc. Then they go home and you have your space, and they go home, they have their space. Okay? The boundaries are there. Now imagine you have to go to work one day and the friend shows up and you're like, well, actually, buddy, I gotta go to work. I can't really entertain you today. He's like, no, it's no problem. You can go ahead and get to work. And you're looking at him while you're going to the bus stop, looking back at him like, what the hell did he mean? You're looking back at him all the way to the bus stop, and then you get on the bus, he's still there in front of your door, and then you leave. Then as soon as you leave, soon as you're out of range of view, the guy pulls out a key and goes into your house, right? When you come back home later on, right? When you come back home, you find out he's rearranged the place. He's got pictures of his kids, his wife and kids on the wall. He's got his favorite furniture instead of yours. Your furniture's outside in the garbage bin, like the dumpster out back. He's got his YouTube setup because you have your YouTube setup. He has his YouTube setup. You know, like he's got a guitar up there because he's a musician and all these stuff. And your stuff is outside in the dumpster. When you're like, hey man, what are you doing? Hey, I thought we were friends. What are you doing? Well, that's when you tell him, look, man, there are boundaries. There are boundaries. It's not that I don't love you as my friend, but I came home, you broke into my house, you put pictures of your family, took pictures of my family down, you put my stuff in the dumpster out back, and the friend goes, well, you obviously hate me. So I don't even know how to feel about this. Totally disregarding the concept of boundaries. It's the same thing with heterosexual people and homosexual people. How about we respect each other's boundaries? This actor here on the screen, where you see these two actors, not even this actor, these two actors here on the screen, they're heterosexual people. They're heterosexual people. And so you are on the outskirts of the show being made and you're drumming up all this fire so that you can get these two grown heterosexual men to tongue each other down for your pleasure. Where are your boundaries? Where are they? And do you respect their boundaries, right? I mean, I've spoken with gay men who find the prospect of even taking a whiff of vagina something that like they'll throw up. Can you imagine if I pulled some random girl out in the street, be like, hey, come here, shorty, and then I open her legs and shove this gay guy's head, get in there, take a whiff for that cat, motherfucker, you gonna get. Where are his boundaries and where are my boundaries, right? Maybe we should respect each other's boundaries. So if this man, this heterosexual man, just like the Genuine thing, where the man is on a show with you, he's giving you all manner of respect. In fact, he's so amicable with you in that video clip, right? Genuine. He's so amicable with that trans guy, girl, whatever that trans person was, that he laid his head on the trans person's, like, hey, we're buddies, we're friends, all right? Just, relax. It doesn't have to be this serious. But then the boundaries weren't enough. They weren't solid enough for the trans person. They had to press forward, like, how about give us a kiss? No, the guy is a straight man. He told you this. How about you respect his boundaries? He doesn't disrespect your boundaries, whatever they happen to be. What is your problem? Black men must promote homosexuality and the gay agenda, or else. That's what it has to be from now on, it looks like. That's what it has to be from now on, it looks like. Because this guy now, Anthony Mackie's future in the MCU, the way the guy feeds himself and his family, that's questioned now. Now that's up for debate. Will he be part of the MCU going forward? We don't know. Because the Twitterati, these tastemakers, are already deciding this man's fate. This is amazing to me that we've come this far. Anyhow, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. If you're on any social media platform, go ahead and give a link to this video, a link to this platform, to this channel. Let's grow this platform. Currently, we're at 140 or so subs. How about we get to perhaps 200 subs, right? 300 subs, 400 subs. We need to get to like 1,000 subs. Once we're at 1,000 subs, YouTube will finally start taking us seriously. Once they start taking us seriously, we will have a lot more benefits, right? I won't tell you what those benefits are, but it will be more glorious. The platform will be bigger. There'll be more brains in the room. That's one thing that I can tell you for free. There'll be more brains in the room. Right now, it's my brain and your brains in the chat, right? So once we grow the platform, there'll be way more brains in the room, way more fun. Fun for everybody. Fun for everyone, right? So, and also, please remember to hit that Cash App if you enjoy this content. You know, your money will help get new software, different kinds of hardware that I always try to upgrade. For example, my microphone is really misbehaving and acting up. That's why sometimes you hear or whatever, and sometimes you can hear me breathe. The gain goes high and low without any input from me. You know, these sorts of things. So when you hit that Cash App, you're helping fund the effort to make this channel better. You're also directly funding projects such as our Black Star Trek comic book. Okay, so go ahead and hit that Cash App if you feel inclined to do so, and hit that bell for notifications. Bring a friend to add to the subscriptions. Do what you got to do. All right, and Brotep out.